Thank you so much, Mr. Aide, for coming around.
Thank you. The pleasure is mine.
So let's start from the point of the defections. How would you react to the massive defections from the PDP now to the APC by those the party would have thought would be the strongholders of the party?
Well, look, I mean, in every association, in every group, even down to family units, there are always problems, challenges, So the PDP, I mean, like every other party, has challenges, and these are not normal times. These are challenges that are being instigated, by the ruling party, and the objective is to decimate the opposition parties, the PDP, the Labour Party, the NNPP, ABGA, you mentioned them. And the whole idea is to railroad all of the 200 million, over 200 million Nigerians into the same, basket of deplorables, which exactly is what the APC, that's what they are. And they want all of us to be in the same basket. And that is exactly what is driving, these defections.
Oh, you said that the internal crisis is instigated by the ruling party. I'd like to get more clarity on that, or probably cite instances.
Yes, since the 2023 election, because one individual, Nyesom Wike, former governor of Rivers State, now minister of the Federal Capital Territory, because he lost, the primaries of that, of that presidential election, because he lost out in the race for, the nomination of the vice presidential candidate. I mean, he decided to, become a nuisance, working in cahoots, with the ruling party, to create crisis in the party. So all of the crises that we have, from the secretary, of the party issue, they're all linked to Nyesom Wike. And this is because he has a mandate, of the Tinubu administration to deliver, to be the undertaker, to kill the PDP, to kill the Labour Party, to kill the NNPP, to pave the way, to pave way for a one-party state. They don't, they are afraid, obviously, of an opposition, and more so the fact that the coalition is ramping up his engine, to challenge, the ruling party. And so this so-called crisis that we're talking about, they are all instigated, by working, with the ruling party.
So now that the FCT minister has come out to say that he's going to be pulling out of the peace deal, and that the PDP crisis is actually fueled by the governor of Oyo State, Seyi Makinde, does it look as though he's trying to gaslight the PDP?
That's good riddance, good riddance. It's obviously part of his, playbook. I mean, the damage has been done. He has succeeded, in creating discord, and disharmony, in the PDP, and now he's blaming it on other, on other individuals. Very typical of him, because he does not want to take responsibility for the crisis that he has caused, that has festered. So if he says he's pulling out, the party is, will be better served without a Nyesom, without a Nyesom Wike, because this is a man who is trying to pull down the house on a party, on a house that he's part of. I mean, it's just because of the fact that he lost out in the primary, and is now willing and presented himself as the man Friday of Tinubu administration to, to bury, the PDP.
So what about Atiku Abubakar? Are there any guarantees that it would still stay within the fold of the PDP, because we're getting stories or feelers that it probably might move to ADC and spearhead a coalition? What is the future of this?
Listen, I said, not too long ago, that the efforts by the former vice president were frustrated by some of these characters who are posturing, as loving the PDP more than any other person. The former vice president has quietly been engaged in reconciliatory moves, but a lot of these individuals, a lot of these characters, including but not limited to Nyesom Wike, have frustrated those efforts. The former vice president does not need to speak about or be on television or radio or on the newspapers to talk about what he's been doing, because some of the things he's doing are things that require very subtle quiet diplomacy, and he has been doing his bit. And don't forget that nobody ever claps with one hand. You need both hands to be able to clap. And so he has been he has done his bit. Thank God that we have the Bukola Saraki-led reconciliation committee. And the former vice president, will provide all of the supports, to him to be able to achieve, reconciliation in the party. Like I said, yes, on Wike, good riddance to bad rubbish.
Well, now some critics said that the whole leadership of the PDP are actually cowards because they actually failed to either discipline or expel Wike for what they consider as anti-party activities. And of course, some members have actually found excuses for it. I don't know why these has come to play, but I'd like to get your feelers on the reason that we are seeing some sort of a lack of leadership within the fold of the PDP.
They are not cowards. Let me tell you what Nyesom Wike did. He simply succeeded, in dividing, the party. That was what he succeeded in doing that. And so, the stakeholders and also the leadership of the party also being very careful. They don't want to hand over to him what is actually his end game, which is to provide a justification that the party is divided. The party is not facing any crisis. The party has an acting national chairman. The issue that they have over the secretaryship of the party has been settled, by the Supreme Court, which ruled that he didn't have any business in the affairs of the party. And so the Southeast, caucus of the party had, they have represented, Koye, as the secretary of, of the party. So the leadership of the party has been very careful, because they know what he has done. He has created, put a knife between the things that held them together, and he has brought some people, towards his side because of the resources that is, that he has, that he's playing with as the FCT minister. Some of these PDP, stakeholders, at night, they are in bed with him, and working in cahoot with him to be able to, to ensure that he succeeds, in the sinister agenda, of decimating, the party. So I don't think it's cowardice.
But
you
don't think
strategic distance that is involved.
But
yes.
sorry, you don't think that the failure of the leadership to actually rein in the influence Wike has had over the years on the party is actually what has given Wike the opportunity to hold PDP at the jugular? He's been seen as a perceived threat. You've equally said that he succeeded in his sinister moves, but then we have a leadership of a party that should have done the needful when they had the opportunity to do so.
Listen, this is like I told you. You see, as FCT minister, Nyesom Wike has resources that a lot of, the state, governors don't have. Maybe possibly Lagos State or maybe Rivers. And that was also why he was hounded, the Rivers State governor, because, resources were also at play. He probably wanted more resources. And so with these resources, he's able to play his divide and rule game. I mean, that is clear. Some of the lands being taken over, including that of the opposition, People's Democratic Party, is being used to settle. That is exactly what is at play. Yes, he had influence before now, but now he has a mandate, of the ruling party, which is afraid, of an opposition challenge. And so the only way to ensure that they have their way is to ensure that Wike delivers to them a dead and buried PDP, a dead and buried Labour Party, a dead and buried NNPP. That is exactly what is at play.
So does this actually mean that the People's Democratic Party were actually, in local parlance, chopping Wike's money, and now that their belly is full, they do not have what it takes to call Wike to order or probably expel him for what they have seen that he has done? I mean, we've seen stories and we've seen people talk about the fact that he actually walked against the PDP at the presidential elections in 2023. But then we didn't see them take a drastic action against him.
Listen, there are lessons to be learned from what is going on in the PDP. And that is the reason why there shouldn't be career politicians. Politicians need to have both a day job and a night job. The reason being that if you have people who have resources, who have independent, they have an economy that is independent, of their involvement in politics and governance, it will be difficult to be able to persuade such people to do things to compromise their, this thing. So with some of the PDP, stakeholders and leaders being out of, government for a while, it becomes very easy to compromise, some of them. They don't have the balls, because it's all about, the stomach infrastructure. And so, like I said, they will have a day job, they'll have an address that is different from the address of their political party, the address of the government that they are serving. It is important. Otherwise, we'll continue to have, people like this with no balls, and they can succumb to the whims and caprices of people like Nyesom Wike and the administration that is serving.
All right, thank you so much, Paul Aide, for sharing your insights with us about this matter on the news.
The pleasure is mine.